You're listening to Kearney Live on 102.7 KPGZ. Kearney Live is presented by Kearney Trust Company. Kearney Trust, 310 West 92 Highway in Kearney. The phone number is 816-628-6666. And now here's the hosts of Kearney Live, Mike Davis and Jim Dickerson.
Welcome to Kearney Live. I am your host, Mike Davis, and Jim Dickerson is out today. He is out flying around the country. He's an airline pilot. Jim, do you know, Brian, not Jim, you're Brian.
I'm not Jim.
I'm glad you got your mic on, Brian. Well, I know. It's always fun when you've got the mic on because people get to know that there really is somebody that I'm talking to in the background.
Right.
Do you know, I don't think people know, many people in this town, Kearney, Missouri, don't know that Jim Dickerson is an airline pilot.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Well, I'm not Shirley, but I'm serious. And I got to tell you, that guy, Jim Dickerson, is a good guy. We love having him in here, and I think the rest of the city likes it too. Well, there it is. That's our studio audience. Both levels are full today. I noticed that. You know, it's standing room only now.
Right.
So it's good to get a round of applause with the studio audience. I do have, seriously, folks, and I won't call you Shirley, I have Dr. Bill Nicely, the superintendent of the finest school district on the planet. Kearney, Missouri School District. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bill Nicely.
Thank you. I'm nervous. All these people in here are making me nervous.
Well, they have a tendency to do that, too. They spill popcorn and stuff, too. It's a big cleanup mess afterwards, but we like having them here. How you been this summer?
Good, great.
I know last year I asked you mistakenly. I said, "What have you been doing all summer?" Like, you know, you get the summer off too. But it turns out you work 365 days of work a year, just like the rest of us working stiffs.
I do get weekends off generally.
Well, there's
not always, but generally.
Yeah, but you're thinking about work. I know how that goes. But have you taken any vacation time at all?
Took a little vacation time. We most excitingly, you were talking about. Your co-host, who's an airline pilot. My son is an airline pilot as well. So
yeah,
but most excitedly, he got married this summer. So
wonderful! Congratulations!
They live out in California, and the wedding was out there, and so it was a big deal getting everybody out there and getting him married, and
no doubt about it.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. I have grown children myself, and they're still your babies, but boy, isn't it fun when they get to be adults, and you're so proud of them.
Yeah, absolutely are. And we kept thinking about all these things that we're going to do after the wedding. We called it AW. We're going to do this AW. And we finally got home AW. And it was like, well, school's getting ready to start. Right? We better get busy. So those other things will have to wait.
You mentioned school getting ready to start. And just a couple of minutes as we were getting ready for the show here, you mentioned to me, tomorrow is the first day of school.
Tomorrow's the first day of school.
Wow, the kids are excited. They got all their fresh new clothes and pencils and books and backpacks and all kinds of stuff.
We had open houses throughout our district last night. Recognized lots of faces, and it appears to me that kids are excited to come back to school. It really appeared to me that parents were mostly excited for their kids to come back to school.
I can't imagine why. It is an exciting time of year, though. You know, I remember as a kid that summer just went on forever. And especially as you got older and school became a very important social aspect of your life. And by the time, the middle of August rolls around, I don't remember us starting this early. I guess perhaps we did, but you were so ready as a child to get back to school.
Yeah, I think so too. There's kids these days have a lot to do in the summertime. There's lots of activities, lots of participatory and team activities, sports and league and those kinds of things.
Right.
But we also like for them to get out there and play and get dirty and have a good time, and then be ready to come back to school. Most of the time you talk to them, they don't want to admit that they are a little bit ready to come back to school because they get to see all their friends that they haven't seen for a while.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. I noticed you have a school reading program. I am on the Kearney, Missouri School District website here. KSDR1.net is what it says up there. Did I get that right?
You did. It's the source of information. Any information one needs about the school district, it's there.
Boy, it sure is.
And if you can't find it there, give us a call because we are here to help.
Yeah, I saw the summer. Where did I see it? Just a little while ago. It was the summer reading program. Tell me about that. It says, what? You're pointing to it. It's right up here in the banner. Look at that.
So summer reading programs, it's a great program. We partnership with the local library, and those guys do a great job for us. And really, it's just about encouraging kids to read,
right?
And spending some of that. We talk about unsupervised time where you can just kind of do what you want.
Sure.
That's really important for kids to do. And sometimes we structure their day too much. It's really important for the development of children to have that unsupervised time, and reading's a big part of that.
Sure
Pick
is.
out what you want to read, find subjects that you're interested in, whether they're fiction or nonfiction, and just relax, curl up in a corner, go outside underneath a tree, and just enjoy a book.
I think that's right. I remember as a kid, you think about reading for pleasure, and I think, I had parents who read. So we had the example that, you saw that, especially my mother, she was able to, she took the time to read just about every single book we had in the house, and then others that, she was in book clubs and all manner.
Right.
And so we learned at a very young age to read for pleasure. Obviously we have computers and a whole different method and ways in which kids can read, but there are also other distractions on computers. How are you helping kids to sort of understand that there's still the old-fashioned way, and it's really pleasurable to sit down with a book?
Well, that's a great question, and it's a challenge for us. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a challenge for parents, and all of us seem to be busier than ever, right? We all have someplace to go, and we're always late for wherever that is. It seems like, and so how do you communicate to a child and demonstrate, right, and model those good reading habits, because those, there's a tremendous benefit to them. It's a social emotional benefit, but obviously it's a reading benefit, which which is important academically as well. And just to relax and unwind and not have to think about that next thing, and kind of get outside of yourself and into a book. That's really important. And students who learn that early, they retain that skill for the rest of their life.
I think that's right. And there's absolutely nothing wrong, no implication whatsoever that you can't read on a computer. It's just kind of, for an old guy like me, it's tough on my eyes. But
kids, however, do that very well.
Yes, they do.
The Kindle books and the Fire books and the tablets that have the books on them. We use those in our school district. It's really a great tool to help students track their reading progress. They can click on a word if they don't know what it means and find out the definition. And so that kind of thing helps as well.
I still find myself doing that now, and I just love having. The other day, no kidding, my computer was not turned on, and I actually went to the shelf, and I got to tell you, it's been years since I grabbed a dictionary, a Webster's, right off of my bookshelf, and I thought, this is taking me forever to look up one word. I'm so accustomed now at my computer to just clicking on the dictionary, and it opens right up, and there's the word, and you know what, you get other meanings too. You get all kinds of different. There's the thesaurus that opens up with it. It's just magic.
Here's the thing, though. I'm thinking about you opening up a dictionary. And I imagine you spent the next hour just perusing that dictionary for new words, huh?
I lead a somewhat boring life, but it's not that boring. I'm just saying.
Okay, just checking.
And I think there's something else too that's kind of exciting that I want to talk about, and it is the stadium renovation. Oh my goodness, how exciting is that?
We're pretty excited about it. We are indeed.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about the stadium renovation is it's first of all, it's fascinating how much excitement it has created.
Right.
We the district completed before the stadium renovation $27 million in bond issue, school improvements, big classroom additions, and all those kinds of things. And the stadium was not part of that, right? It was on our list of things that we need to do. And if you remember the old stadium seating, on the home side, it was really falling apart, and we had to do something. So this had been on our list, and we wanted to get all those other sort of academic and more important things out of the way, now that we're started on the stadium project, the people are just driving through our South Campus area on a daily basis to check progress.
Yes.
So
one Brian Watts was one of those people.
Yeah, well, I am too, I have to admit.
Yes.
And so it is really exciting to see that stadium go up. And we're also under a tremendous time crunch to get that completed and ready for everybody by the first home game, the 30th of this month. So we're approaching that, but so far it looks like we're on track to make that.
Yeah, it does, and we have an interest in it. First of all, I remember last year you and I think we spoke. It was just about this time, and you were on the show, and we were talking about the new gymnasium and everything that was ready to go in the school building itself.
Right,
and of course we had a little early view of it at the radio station, and it just was gorgeous. And I remember how exciting it was to see that open. We weren't even thinking about the stadium. But the stadium this year is personally exciting for us here at the radio station because we will have our own little spot for the radio broadcast for the Kearney Bulldogs, your Kearney Bulldogs, and Jim Dickerson, who is the voice of the Kearney Bulldogs, will be sitting right in the middle of us, Brian, you and me, and it'll be a lot of fun. But it's neat to see the picture that Brian sent from that south side of the football field.
Yep.
Those seats, now they're not all put in yet, but those seats reach from one end zone to the other. And don't think for a minute that this town can't fill those up.
Right. And if you think about last year, the last 5-10 years, we always say that the entire community comes out for our games, for these events.
Yep.
And for a whole host of reasons. Some of them like to watch football. Some of them like to watch dancers, cheerleaders, marching band. For a whole host of reasons, they come out. But as you know, there's not enough. There's never enough room. You have to show up early. It's jam packed. Yeah. There's no elbow room. Your students and adults are spilling out into the grassy areas.
Yes.
So we think we've taken care of that. We're fingers crossed we've taken care of it. And the other thing that we did in the design of this, it's not a cookie cutter stadium, right? It doesn't look like all the other stadiums because we made it to fit the existing topography, for lack of a better term,
footprint or whatever.
Footprint,
right? Yeah.
And we want it to look good next to the new Fieldhouse building. And in fact, what you're going to find, and you may not know this, but what we're going to do is once everything's opened up, we always close off the road, but now we're going to have the fencing, portable fencing, bicycle fencing is what they call it, in between the stadium and the field house, creating a large plaza area where people can mill around. We'll have things for sale. The hamburger station is going to be there, and people will be able to move out and back and forth and then into the stadium proper itself. So our goal is to really create an atmosphere where everybody can be together and have a great time.
Yeah, and I think most folks have seen the architectural renderings from early on, but you really don't have to use any of your imagination at this point if you're out there. I think you start to get a sense of how. I know the construction crews have a lot of things. It's blocked off. You can't get in the way. Don't go over there. Don't go over there now. But I think what you've described is we're far enough along with the construction that you can sort of imagine exactly what you're describing in your mind's eye.
And again, if you think back to the we did a study on the field of view from a spectator standpoint of the old stadium, and the seats were lower and they raked back fairly lowly, and so oftentimes you couldn't see in front of you, or the people in front of you, the person's head in front of you was blocking the sideline all the way out to the 50-yard line, or all the way out to the center of the field. That's all been fixed.
Right.
So everybody's going to be able to see almost the entire field, regardless of where you're sitting. And so we're really excited about that. And I do want to point out that that I actually got the opportunity last week to go up to the booth where you guys are going to be broadcasting.
Hey now.
And to pretend to be, no, I didn't pretend to be you, but just to get an idea of what that looked like from up there, and it really is fantastic.
Oh, man, we are looking forward to it. Yeah, it's funny when you talk about the design of a stadium, the really critical part of any seat is that you have them built at such an angle that everybody can see. Isn't that the whole point? But it's a design detail that I think oftentimes people tend to overlook. You forget about it. I mean, clearly, the architects and the builders of these things are, there's a science involved in this. But I think that's cool because I had not given it one minute of thought that the angle and the sort of the riser and the I guess the step, which would be the seat, has a very specific dimension so people can see around each other.
There's a whole science to stadium design,
and
right?
You just don't think about it. I know. I find it fascinating. I just wanted folks to know that we are getting ready to take a break here, but I wanted folks to know that we're getting ready to go to a break, and I'm just going to say Kearney Trust Company sponsors this very program, and I want folks to just listen to this spot coming up because it's all about them. You're listening to Kearney Live. Come back. We'll be right back.
Always remember to thank the underwriters for their support of KPGZ.
Kearney Trust Company is uniquely Kearney. They opened their doors in 1882 and have been financing goals and dreams ever since. Kearney Trust has a team of experienced lenders and a qualified staff to assist you with all of your financial needs. Your success is their priority. Whether you're looking for traditional checking and savings services, or you need cash management, mobile banking, mortgage, or lending services, Kearney Trust will provide you and your business with the resources you need to succeed. Information, speed, and convenience are all valuable commodities in our fast-paced world. For Kearney Trust Company, technology is an addition to, not a replacement for the personal banking relationship they like to have with their customers. The people of Kearney Trust Company focus on and try to fit the needs of all their customers. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone number is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
And welcome back to Kearney Live. We've got Dr. Bill Nicely in studio with us today. We've been talking about all kinds of things. We have one thing to talk about, and that's it. We have all manner of things to talk about as it applies to the Kearney, Missouri School District. And we were talking about seating over at the stadium just a little while ago before we took a break. And I also know that, Dr. Nicely, there are seats that are going to be auctioned off, and there are other seats that are for sale. Let's talk about the seats that are for sale first.
You bet. So we have a section, or three sections. As you drive by, you'll see KHS, which we think is pretty cool. And the three sections of stadium seating, it's a little over 500 seats that with the seat backs there and the armrests, they're really nice.
Right.
They are really nice, very comfortable. And then so that's about 500, and there's a little over 2,000 seats, and so the remainder of those are bench seats. And so these are great seats. We're selling them to if a family or an individual or multiple people want to go together, and we're selling those seats for a season of football. You pay $100 for a seat. You get that seat reserved for the season of football, and you also get admission to the game. So the cost of admission is going to be $25, and so really what you're doing is the cost of reserving your own seat is $75. Total is $100 per seat.
That seems quite reasonable.
I think it is.
Yeah, for five games, right?
I think it is for 5 games.
Yeah,
that's correct. And it varies how many home games we have each season. This is 5 games this season. Next season will be more. Next year will be more. But so yeah, you can reserve that. And really what you're paying for is the availability to drive up 5 minutes or before the game starts or 5 minutes after it starts and be able to walk up and take your seat.
Right. For
in,
those,
in a crowded area.
Yes.
We don't anticipate that we're going to sell all 500 of them. So there will be some stadium seats available just for the general public to come and sit down. But you better show up a half an hour early if you want one, right?
Now, these seats they have backs and arms on them, right? Like regular stadium seating.
Yes,
right?
they do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
I mean, like you would sit at Royals, at Kaufman,
Absolutely.
or Arrowhead.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, they're really comfortable, and there's no folding seat. It's just you walk in and sit down, and it's got a nice comfortable back, and you've got the arms, and they're a good size,
right?
And there's lots of leg room. I was surprised by the amount of leg room actually. So it certainly is a comfortable area.
I was going to ask how do folks go about securing a couple of seats or a seat or however many they want?
So that's a great question. Our district website has all the information, ksdr1.net. You can also call the activities office, which is 628-DOGS. Yes,
I love it.
628-DOGS, which is 3647. Give Dave Schwarzenbach a call, and we can set anybody up. There's a priority. So if you're the parent of a senior student, you get the priority. And it doesn't matter what senior student. It could be a football player. It could be a marching band person who wants to reserve their seat. It could be a soccer player. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be just a parent. Seniors get priority, and then juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and then open to the public.
Very good.
The 19th, coming up on Monday, is the first cutoff date for that, and we will take all that we've received thus far, and we will distribute those out. But they're going to continue to be for sale up until the day of the game. And then I also want to mention this Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. is the annual football purple and gold scrimmage, which is just a fun event. If you've not been out to that, it's a great community event.
Yes.
It is actually going to be on the other side of the stadium because the home side is not completed yet. So it'll be the purple and gold scrimmage will take place over on the south side of the stadium.
Right.
But there's an auction, a live auction and a silent auction, and lots of food, and you get to watch the scrimmages going on of players from all ages.
Right.
But during that event, the most exciting thing is the very highest row of stadium seatings in the stadium will be auctioned off to the highest bidder. So
I like it.
Each person who, if you are able to, if you want to participate in that auction, then
so that's open to anybody.
That's open to anybody.
Yeah, businesses as well.
Absolutely.
All right, so I can
absolutely.
One could anticipate those seats would go for more than $100 a piece.
They're certainly the best seats in the stadium.
Yes.
And there's an overhang there, so there's a little protection from weather elements, and so we think those are going to really go. And it's kind of fun to see what who gets them and how much is bid on them, and so that's going to happen during the black and gold scrimmage on Saturday.
Love it.
Purple and gold scrimmage on Saturday.
Right.
And then what's important for everybody to know is that people are asking, like, where's all this money going?
Let me see if I get this right. Dr. Nicely, where is all of this money going? It's sort of like that.
Yeah, and then they speculate. Right?
Those dirty speculators. Why I oughta.
So we're also, in addition to selling the seats, we're also selling advertisements. And you'll see advertisements coming up in the field house and on the stadium as well. And there's two reasons for that. One, obviously, to raise money. So what folks are seeing as they drive by is the first phase of the stadium.
Right.
There is phase two.
Oh,
and
boy.
phase two takes care of some additional spaces and facilities. Everybody knows if they've been there that the restrooms are antiquated. They're getting old. Concession areas, same way.
Right.
We want to demo those. We want to move those out farther away. We want to create a greater plaza area. We want to take care of restrooms and concession on the visitor side.
I see.
For multiple reasons, right? Because we host all kinds of events in that stadium and then also tennis events. And so it'll be a great opportunity for really the South Campus to utilize additional restroom space and concession space. So that's all part of phase two. And so it's really, when that happens, is a matter of fundraising.
Right.
In addition to that, the dollars will supplement our activities program. So it doesn't just go to football.
Right.
Actually, those guys do a pretty good job of fundraising themselves.
Right.
We have lots of activities that don't see the kind of spectators as football, right?
Sure. As a former cross country runner, I recall that.
You know,
exactly,
don't you?
Right.
Yeah. So the activities department receives a great amount of money from various kinds of fundraising, and our goal is to reduce fundraising, that door-to-door stuff, and bothering people, and to use this as a mechanism to fund those activities.
Right.
So the district dollars can really focus on academics, and that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, love it. Now, and I'm going to kind of stay on this subject line, because I think of the stadium, some of the things going on over there, because there's a ton of new technology and excitement surrounding it, and one of them is this the new entertainment and broadcasting aspect of it. We're talking about actual live television broadcasts.
We are.
I mean, how exciting is that?
So there's two components. One of them is the marketing piece of it,
right?
And then the other one is the broadcasting piece. What's important to know is that both of those provides a fantastic opportunities for students to be immersed in these real world learning experiences. And that's one of the big goals of our Board of Education, is to increase the amount of students that get that immersed real world learning.
Right.
What we call them sometimes is a market value asset, because when they leave us, they can go out into the marketplace and they possess this asset, which is an experience that they've had before, and employers and colleges and schools go, oh, we want to grab this student because they already have this experience. So we have a video board. Part of the scoreboard is now a video board, and they're developing advertising, much like you see on our website, or you might see on a commercial on a television.
Right.
Our students are going to develop those things and advertise for the folks that we've agreed to provide that advertising for. And then we're also doing live broadcasts, television broadcasts. And what's really exciting is, for our home football games, we've got a connection with ESPN. And so you are literally be able to turn on ESPN3 and watch Kearney Bulldog football. How exciting is that?
It is tremendously exciting. Now, I've seen this model before, and I think I can remember on Saturday mornings turning on a ESPN3 generally.
Yep.
And watching the feed of Texas football. I think they probably started this model, a little sooner than we did up here in the Midwest. But nonetheless, you're sitting there watching high school football, and it really is entertaining football.
It is entertaining, and you get to watch some fantastic athletes. But and I have to tell you, as a and I'm a sports guy, but I'm really into the academic side of it, right?
I can't imagine,
and more so than anything,
right? And
the opportunities that this new program, if you will, is going to provide for kids is just absolutely incredible. So we're really excited about that.
So we're talking about the students actually running cameras and being involved in the production crew, doing the technical part of it, setting up lights or running wire or doing any of the different, gaffer type duties, things that are involved in a video production. They can do any aspect of this. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And if you think about it, there's the game night, right? But there's also the behind the scenes during the day. And so we have a sports entertainment marketing class that students are signed up for. We have a broadcasting class that students are signed up for. Those students spend their week preparing with the advertising and working with the ESPN and talking about the sequencing and uploading all of that information in class with instructors that help them do that, and
then they get to apply it.
And then they get
on game night.
That's right. And they're nervous. They're really nervous.
Well,
when you say ESPN, they get nervous. But it'll be great.
Yeah,
it'll be great.
I can imagine. Well, that really is exciting. I think when you talk about a program like this, and when we were talking about seating prices, and we're talking about a small percentage of the seats, a section that are for sale, the money that goes to this thing, while yes, it's there immediately to serve a need on game night, I got it, okay, But all of the things that are surrounding game night in that very stadium are really, I think, as you say, it reflects back on education and just the kids. It has a social aspect to it, and clearly they get to apply what they've learned in a classroom during the week. These kids that are involved in the TV production, and go out there and put this to work with their own hands and using their own minds and watch this thing happen right in front of them.
Yeah, and it's we just really want to see the proliferation of those kinds of experience, right. Because ultimately, here's the thing: Tuesday, I spent it was the first day back for staff, and we do convocation, which is everybody in the entire school district come together and see some fun stuff, and then listen to me be boring.
I don't know about that,
but the idea of, if we think about the kinds of jobs, and what I said at that convocation was these 2019 graduates who just graduated 10 years from now, 2029, what do we want for them, right? We want them to have great jobs and have a great life. Really, that's what we want for all kids. Sure. So how can we prepare them for that job market 10 years from now? Right. Well, these real world learning experiences are the way to do that. Facts and figures, memorization, I'm sorry, that's not where it's at anymore. We're already into the 21st century, and we've got to move forward and prepare students so that they can have those great jobs and be fulfilled 10 years from now. And so the real world learning experience, the immersion experiences, is really where it's at.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think the last time you were here in studio with us, that we're seeing kids that are beginning to recognize that there are viable job opportunities out there that don't require a 4-year college degree. Now, while it may involve some technical training, many of these kinds of opportunities will provide on-the-job training. You want to talk a little bit about that?
You bet. And the best example of that is the KC Tech Academy, which is a partnership that we have with LMV Magna and just manufacturing up in Liberty. And the idea, you talk about those jobs 10 years from now, robots are going to be everywhere. Like, we're seeing already driverless cars and talking about driverless trucks and all of those kinds of things, and then robot manufacturing and AI and all of those. So who does that work, right? Who programs those things? Well, we're going to need really good people to do that. And so KC Tech Academy, just that. It's like that we need individuals to program, to maintain the robots in manufacturing, and that's a great example of that. It doesn't require a college degree. It can, but oftentimes we say students can start here and get, because it's really just about lifelong learning. Let's get the training here, get you down the road, have you start earning a really good wage, what we call a quality job. That means a wage that you can raise a family with, and then think about that next step. And oftentimes we see students that graduate and go do those things and end up as the same place as the student who went to college. But guess what? No college debt, right? Yeah. So the paradigm is shifting.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think, and there's, look, a 4-year college degree is a thing of value, whether you use it in your work or not. Let's make no mistake about that. But there are often folks, who might be a better student later in life. I think as you mature a little, there are some folks I know, and they have some personal experience in that. I was a non-traditional student, and I can tell you I was far more prepared as I went later in life, and I think I got a lot more out of my education, at a later age, after kind of doing some things early on that I really wanted to do, to make some money. But I needed.
This is why you and I get along so well, because I was the same way, right? And it's those experiences that help prepare you to be successful in that college education as you pursue, and you realize the value of it. Sometimes students right out of high school don't understand that value.
No doubt about it. And I think, age 18, there's different levels of maturity, even at age 80. But when you're 18 years old, I mean, there's so much more to learn, and just the life experience itself, I think, is a great teacher. And I would not pressure a child or a youngster at that age to forcibly do anything that
Right.
that was a commitment to a career they hated.
Well, and so that's a great segue into a couple of things. One of them is we now, as a school district, have a career readiness coordinator, Beth Freeman, who previously was the junior high school teacher, is now was hired to be this coordinator person, and we're talking about market value assets, and we're talking about real world learning. We want students to begin understanding all of the great variety of careers that are available
Right.
to them early on. So even as early as elementary, we want to start having those conversations with students and give them those experiences.
Yeah.
How do you motivate anybody? You,
Sure.
me, students, it doesn't matter who they are. Motivation comes through interest, right? So
Yes.
if you give them real world experience that they're interested in, that they have an aptitude for, then they're going to be self-motivated
That's
to
correct.
do well. And Beth's going to help us do that. So we're really excited about Beth coming on board. And we're also excited about the partnership that we have with the Kauffman Foundation through a grant that is helping fund Beth's position.
Oh wow, that's exciting. Yeah. Now, did you apply for that, or did it just happen, or how
No,
does
we
that
did
work?
apply for it, and there's a handful of school districts across the Kansas City metro area. In the Northland, there are 3 recipients: North Kansas City, Liberty School District, and Kearney School District. And we're really leading the way, and the 3 school districts are going to collaborate together on this concept of career readiness and real world learning, and doing some of the things that we just described to you, right? So giving students these valuable experiences, and hopefully the goal is that eventually every high school student will graduate with not just a diploma, but also with this market value asset, this in whatever category they're interested in, this immersion of learning in a real world experience. And we know by statistics and research that if students have those experiences, they're more likely to be successful down the road.
That's what you like to hear. We're visiting today with Dr. Bill Nicely. He's the superintendent of the Kearney, Missouri School District. You're listening to Kearney Live. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Without the support of community underwriters, we wouldn't be here. So a huge thanks to these particular businesses for supporting KPGZ.
Kearney Trust Company is uniquely Kearney. They opened their doors in 1882 and have been financing goals and dreams ever since. Kearney Trust has a team of experienced lenders and a qualified staff to assist you with all of your financial needs. Your success is their priority. Whether you're looking for traditional checking and savings services, or you need cash management, mobile banking, mortgage, or lending services, Kearney Trust will provide you and your business with the resources you need to succeed. Information, speed, and convenience are all valuable commodities in our fast-paced world. For Kearney Trust Company, technology is an addition to, not a replacement for the personal banking relationship they like to have with their customers. The people of Kearney Trust Company focus on and try to fit the needs of all their customers. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone number is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
And welcome back to Kearney Live. We had a text message that came in while we were just now during the break. Words are hard sometimes, Brian. You know?
I know, and you seem to have a lot of trouble with them.
I do. And I don't know. I don't think this guy would mind if I use his name.
No, well, just use his first name.
Well,
and-
Justin.
Okay.
Yeah. It said he works for a company that automates many processes, and he underscores our conversation. He says, absolutely, automation is increasing everywhere, and there are definitely good and well-paid jobs that can be had with no college education required. Dr. Nicely, care to comment?
Well, I'm glad somebody's interested in automation.
Yes.
I hopefully we didn't talk too much about that where some folks tuned us out. But I'm interested in it.
Brian was sleeping.
It's because I'm interested in the jobs of tomorrow, and because that's where our students are going to be. And so I would encourage this person to contact Beth Freeman, our coordinator, and ultimately part of her role and responsibility is to reach out to folks in the community in the area because we're always looking for great opportunities for students. We want our students to not only be immersed in some of these on-the-job trainings or real-world learning experiences. Right. Obviously, Northland CAPS has been a great program for our students, but also to be involved in community project, community service project. That's a really important concept for students to learn about is how to give back to the community where they live, and so that'll be part of their effort as well, and part of some of the work that Beth does. So that's exciting stuff. Think about what we already have: our ag program, our Northland CAPS program, Project Lead the Way Engineering, Project Lead the Way Health Sciences. The list really goes on and on and on, and so we're excited about the things that we do for students now, but we want to make them even better.
Yeah, years ago, I remember taking what we called aptitude tests, not attitude tests. I'd fail every time. I'm talking about aptitude, and that is you find out the things that that you have the tools to accomplish. What are you interested in? In most cases, it's things you're interested in. But I remember having these sort of standardized aptitude tests. Is that something that Beth Freeman would be involved in?
It is, and the guidance counselors are currently, and they some of that happens really at every level now, and we want to increase that. But what's important is to connect interest and aptitude,
right? What
you like and what you're good at, with the jobs that are actually out there, or those jobs
you want to match them up.
You want to match them up.
Sure.
And so that's a learning experience for students. But you know what? More importantly, or equally importantly, I should say, it's also a learning experience for parents and for teachers, because students often get advice from teachers about the various occupations and the directions they should go. One of our goals going forward, especially with this Kaufman grant that I just described to you before the break, is that we want to increase the career knowledge level of all of our employees and our parents, frankly, community-wide, let's say community-wide, so that students can benefit from that knowledge.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and the fact that you have a grant to help pay for this for Beth Freeman, and she's the Career Readiness Coordinator with the Kearney, Missouri School District. I would encourage folks to get on ksdr1.net. And she's got a link right here where it's a little article that talks a little more in depth as to the Career Readiness Coordinator position here in the KMO School District. Other things going on. Shall we move on?
Let's do.
All right. I think you talk about technology. One of the things you told me about before we went on the air was that there is a bus tracker system in which parents can keep track of where the school bus is. That seems, I don't know, sounds like something out of a spy novel to me.
It's not a student tracker system. It's a bus tracker system.
Let's be clear about that.
Right. We're not tracking each individual child. But I could say a few things about that, but I won't. We are
save it for off here. Yeah.
But we are tracking the buses electronically.
Right. How does that work?
And so parents have an opportunity to use an app. Again, go to our website. There's information there. If your child rides the bus, then you can sign up for this service, and you can actually follow that bus. And so sometimes
follow that bus.
I'll tell you what, the weather we had last year was ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
If that happens again this year, I don't know what we're going to do. But inevitably, buses get delayed for one reason or another. Construction going on, poor weather condition causes buses to have to go slower. You know, in some cases, they go to drop off a student and nobody's home. And so they wait there for 10 minutes. Well, that puts everybody else 10 minutes behind.
Right.
Parents start to worry. That's not going to happen anymore, because they're going to be able to follow that bus, see where it's at, and have an idea when they're going to be at your house to drop off. So,
so I'm looking at this. Now, you talked about the app on here on the school district website, and it says the new Kearney School District app. It says stay informed with happenings throughout the district and have easy access to Power School, RevTrack, calendars, and more. Is RevTrack what we're talking about here? Is that
No, RevTrack is purchasing lunch cards and those kinds of things.
well? That's a whole other
Power
thing, but-
School is parents log on to Power School and check out their kids' attendance and grades and homework and all that kind of stuff.
We're
And then when
watching
they
you.
get home off the bus because they're watching that app, they can hammer them. Hey, why didn't you turn in this assignment? So poor kids
There's
can't.
no hiding
They can't get
anymore.
away with
Yeah.
anything anymore.
But there is and I'm overlooking it, but there is the bus tracker app.
There's a bus tracker. It's in the. You can look at in the Google Play Store.
Okay, I see.
And
Okay.
Durham Transportation Company and get that information.
I see. Okay.
And
okay.
I think there's a link, actually a link on there somewhere to that. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
This is something, and I want to make this point because and I'm just going to be sincere here. We monitor the various Facebook pages. We want to know the interests and concerns that folks in this community have.
Yeah.
And sometimes what we find is that their interest and concerns on Facebook, we don't know anything about because nobody called us.
Right.
And what I would encourage parents to do and community members is it doesn't matter who you are, reach out to us, go onto our website, call our district office and say, hey, I have a concern about this. And a great example is we heard multiple times over the last couple of years is that we would really like to have a mechanism to track the buses so we know when our child's going to be dropped off. I may be running late from coming home from work, and I want to make sure I have somebody to meet that bus, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So we listened to what our customers had to say, and we are. Let's get real. We're a customer service oriented organization.
Absolutely.
We have an obligation to provide what folks want, what parents want in this community, and so this is an opportunity to respond to those needs,
Right.
and hopefully it's going to work out really well. So we're going to be interested in the feedback on how the bus tracking service is going. So. That's kind of exciting.
No, it absolutely is, and I think you're right. You mentioned, in fact, I think we talked just briefly about it last time that the school district, it's a business. I mean, it's funded largely by tax revenues. Let's again be honest about it. It's where the money comes from, but it's why pretty much everybody that lives in Kearney chooses to live here because of the school districts. We hear it all the time. But if you want to live in an area and raise your children in a town, a city that has a great school district, parents know we may pay a little more in taxes. I don't know if that's the case here in Kearney or not, but parents want to pay a little bit more.
Actually, it's not.
Well, I think we talked about that too. All of that to say that yes, the school district has a brand. It is and it has a reputation that needs to be managed and built and sustained.
It does. What I'd say is that and a big part of that has to be that feedback from our stakeholders, right?
Right.
Our output is students, and not just graduates. It's every day,
Right.
every year, and it's just a dynamic, ever-changing need.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about academics this hour on the show, but and we talked about sports too.
Right.
But social emotional is absolutely huge. We have in school security, absolutely huge. I know parents worry about that every day. I lose sleep over worrying about kids' safety.
Sure.
And in this current day and age, that's critically important. We're working hard to make our schools more secure than ever. All the while providing opportunities for students to learn. That's a hard dynamic to maneuver back and forth, but that's important. The point is that it takes all of us as a community to have the very best school district possible.
Right.
And we can't do it by ourselves, and we have to rely on parents and community members and the opinions of all of those people
Right.
to get it right. And and sometimes they like the decisions we make, and other times they don't.
Well, you're not going to please everyone. We found that, I mean, look, you find that even your own church, for crying out loud. People, you get three people together, and they're not going to be able to agree on every
Sure.
aspect of the direction you'd like to go. But I to me, it's
That's if I could say.
No,
that's,
please do.
That's that's really the idea, the concept behind a board of education
Right.
locally elected people that are your friends and your neighbors and your church members,
Right.
and who have kids in the district, and listen to what the needs of the community are, and then make decisions. Those are my, I have one boss. It's a 7-member board of education,
Right.
and they're the ones who help guide the direction of the district, and my job is to follow that direction. And if I do it well, I stay around, and if I don't, I don't.
Sure. And as we've seen, I remember year after year, I mean, as I was growing up, even in the Kansas City, Missouri school district, that position, the superintendent position, was vulnerable. And one of those times those guys didn't hang around.
And I'll tell you what, and that's the great thing about
Right.
the Kearney-Holt area, is that we have stability on the Board of Education.
Right.
We have board members that are in it for the right reasons. They don't have their pet projects. They want to do it. We have 3,500, 3,600 students in the school district. They're there for all of those children,
Right.
regardless of what their needs are. And I so appreciate that about them.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I'm not calling out the Kansas City, Missouri school district. So anybody listening, no, it's a fine school district. But yes, I mean, let's face it. If you're in the news, that means there may be some problems behind that. But you want to be in the news for the right reasons. But I don't know. I just, it looks to me like so far so good for the Kearney, Missouri school district. Something that we talked about off the air too, which you talked about, got my attention. You said smart snacks, and when you said snacks, I perked up. But smart snacks it follows federal guidelines of healthy eating, and you've implemented a program that involves said smart snacks. Tell us about that.
I think I hear this growling coming through the radio waves.
That was me.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's everybody else listening. Here's the thing: is one of the things that we're charged with in educating students is providing them, modeling for them,
Right.
Appropriate behavior. And there's a thing that's called nutrition that's really important, and we want students to understand what healthy snacks are, right? So in addition to that, there are federal guidelines, and that's the smart snack guidelines, and ultimately what we're saying is, if we're going to have a holiday party, and parents are going to bring snacks into the school district, they have to be healthy snacks. That's what we're saying. That doesn't go, and of course everybody knows that when we serve lunches, those are healthy as well, right? They have whole grain in them. They're, it's not sugar and candy and all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so that's really important to us. It's important to me that we're modeling that behavior for students. So is that going to be an inconvenience that you can't run into the store and buy cookies and cake and carry them in? Probably so. But I think we're all going to get the hang of it.
Right.
Again, it's on the district website. You can click on there, and there's actually a smart snack guidelines or app, and you just plug in what you're going to do, and it'll tell you whether it fits or doesn't. I've used it. It works pretty good.
Yeah.
It's really easy, and it's a federal application there that works out very well. So. Students that bring their lunch to school, it doesn't apply to that. We're not going to inspect every single lunchbox. They can pack, if you want to pack
biscuits and gravy,
junk food in there, go ahead.
You can't bring biscuits and gravy in a lunchbox.
Right. Well, if it's whole grain biscuits, it might fit the guidelines.
Yeah, we'll leave the gravy at home.
Right.
Oh, that sounds good.
So it's ultimately it's a good thing, and it's a learning curve. We do go through this from time to time. And ultimately it'll be fine. We'll get through it, and the individual buildings will put out information on that as well.
I know. Well, I love the way your attitude when you answered the question, though, because the first thing I thought of was you were inspecting lunch boxes, and I thought, wait a minute, can't do that.
No, we're not doing that.
I know that. Well, I think it makes good sense, and parents want to feed their kids healthy foods anyway. And you might as well get them started off on the wrong foot. Anything, I know we're coming up close to the end of the program, and you've got a little bit of a list in front of you there, Dr. Nicely. What else?
Well, I do want to say we're really excited. Our marching band, those dedicated students, they just get better and better every
Yes.
year. Upcoming on August 26th, they're going to perform the national anthem out for the Royals game.
Wow.
So if you've ever been out to the Royals game and you've seen students perform, that's out in the outfield. So if
Right.
you come out and watch the Royals game, hopefully the weather will be great. See the Kearney Bulldog marching band perform the national anthem, which is really exciting.
How fun.
And then the wind ensemble was just announced that they have been selected to perform. This is a prestigious thing, the Missouri Music Educators Convention down at Tantera, I think, in January. It is quite a feat to get selected by a whole statewide group of Missouri educators to perform. Our wind ensemble has just received that honor. So
How about that?
and it is absolutely breathtaking to see a packed house in one of their large venues of educators listening to our students perform. And I'm telling you, those kids get nervous, right? Because they're not performing for their teacher. They're performing for 200 of their teachers, right?
Right.
So
You
it's
gotta be on your game,
but
yeah.
it's an awesome thing. So there's good things happening all over the district at all of our grade levels. And it all starts tomorrow.
That is really, really exciting. You don't enjoy your job much, do you?
I enjoy most parts of it. Most parts, not all parts, but I do enjoy it. Like I said, we had
I
open
can
house
tell.
last night, and I just love to see the students get excited about school, and hopefully we're creating an environment where they are excited about it and will remain that way.
I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I got to tell you, we have business owners who come in this very studio and just speak glowingly of the high school students that work in their businesses. And that, my friend, is rare. I think it is. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know.
It's those professional skills, and that's a
Right.
big part of it, right? Students that learn those professional skills, and just think as they go forward. We talked about the various kinds of education,
Right.
that those skills are going to benefit them
Forever.
for the rest of their lives.
Right.
Absolutely are.
Yep. It has been a real pleasure having you in here. Dr. Bill Nicely, he's the superintendent of the Kearney, Missouri School District. You've been listening to Kearney Live. We appreciate every one of you. Keep coming back on Wednesdays at noon. We'll be here. We hope you will too. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. .7 KPGZ, Kearney, Missouri.
Small town,